Hello, this is the daily COVID update from Deccan Herald. I'm Suraksha.
I'm Akhil.
On the bulletin today, Karnataka records 18 new COVID-19 cases. 59 people have been arrested from Padarayanapura following last night's violence, and a confrontation seems to be developing between West Bengal and the centre. But first, the national numbers from Akhil.
As we go into this recording, India has more than 18,000 cases of the novel coronavirus in the country. More than 14,000 people are active carriers of the virus. Over 3,000 patients have recovered since they were first tested, and the country has registered 590 COVID-related deaths. The Indian Council of Medical Research has collected more than 4 lakh samples for testing from across the country so far. More than 27,000 samples were collected for testing yesterday. A look at the various states. Maharashtra reported 466 cases today and has almost 4,000 active cases, the highest in the country. Delhi has 1,668 active cases, and Gujarat added 196 cases to its tally today. Amongst the southern states, Tamil Nadu added 43 cases, Andhra Pradesh 45, and Kerala 18. Karnataka continues to be in the 11th spot. Suraksha has all the details.
Karnataka recorded 18 new cases today. With this, there are 280 active cases in Karnataka. 2 people are in the ICU and 112 people have been discharged so far. There have been 16 deaths in the state so far. No new deaths have been reported today. Among the new cases reported today, 11 cases have been reported from Vijayapura and are all direct contacts of patient 221, 228 and 362. 5 cases have been reported from Kalburgi and are direct contacts of patients 175, 177 and 205. Gadag and Bidar have reported 1 case each. Both are direct contacts of previously diagnosed patients. The Jagajeevan Ram Nagar police have arrested 59 people, including a woman in Padarayanapura, for vandalism at the ward last night. They are accused of creating a ruckus by destroying barricades and a checkpost which had been set up to monitor the implementation of sealing orders in the ward. BBMP and medical staff who were there to shift people who have had primary and secondary contact with COVID-19 patients to quarantine were also assaulted. The Padarayanapura and Bapuji Nagar wards were sealed down on April 11th after finding 5 COVID-19 positive cases. Among those, patient number 281, a 65-year-old man from Padarayanapura, died at Victoria Hospital on Sunday. Following his death, BBMP health officials made a list of secondary contacts who had to be quarantined and tested for COVID-19. BBMP and health officials had already moved about 20 people to the quarantine facility and had visited the area to shift the remaining 38 people who had come in contact with positive patients. The preliminary investigation has revealed that around 22 BBMP staffers and police personnel went to convince the people, and while a few agreed, some others opposed it. Those opposing the authorities asked for arrangements to be made for home quarantine. 5 FIRs have been registered under IPC section 353, assault or criminal force to deter public servant from discharge of his duty, 307, attempt to murder, National Disaster Management Act and other sections. Close on the heels of the Padarayanapura vandalism, the Karnataka cabinet has decided to promulgate an ordinance. The ordinance will give special powers to the government to enforce containment measures and also provide protection to frontline health workers. Kerala and Uttar Pradesh have enforced similar ordinances today. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Yadurappa has directed police to provide full security to ASHA workers and other officials. He also declared that no attack on COVID warriors will be tolerated.
And news from around the country. A decision by the Ministry of Home Affairs to send an inter-ministerial team to West Bengal has led to a possible confrontation between the state and the centre. The MHA decided to send its team to assess violations of the COVID-19 lockdown in 4 states, West Bengal being one of them. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has responded by saying that it will be difficult to cooperate in the absence of valid reasons. The teams will be sent to Kolkata and a few other districts in West Bengal, Mumbai and Pune in Maharashtra, Indore in Madhya Pradesh and Jaipur in Rajasthan, invoking powers provided by the Disaster Management Act 2005. Separately, the MHA has also asked Kerala to rectify its directions to relax lockdowns in 7 out of 14 districts, saying they were dilution and violation of its April 15th guidelines. The central teams will prepare reports focusing their assessment on how the administration is implementing the lockdown measures, as well as issues like the supply of essential commodities, social distancing in public places, preparedness of the health infrastructure and hospital facilities, and sample statistics in the district. Earlier in the day, we spoke to Gautam Bhatia, a legal writer, to understand the balance between the states and the center in a public health crisis such as the pandemic, and specifically under circumstances created by the National Disaster Management Act. Here is what he had to say.
In this case, the law that has been invoked by the center is the National Disaster Management Act of 2005, the NDMA. And now that law was brought in to deal with natural disasters, like floods or cyclones or earthquakes that are normally localized in a specific area. and for that you need a kind of coordination and central the resources and the powers open to the center to come and tackle that. So that was what this act was brought in for, and this has now been invoked to effectively deal with COVID, and so in a sense declare the whole country as a disaster area, so to say. And one thing that the Disaster Management Act provides for is that you can basically give binding directions or guidelines to the state governments. So effectively, it allows for the center to override or to determine what even the individual states can do in responding to the pandemic, and that you've seen that I think most clearly in the latest notification, where the center has said that the several states can go beyond the lockdown measures and enforce stricter measures if they want, but they can't dilute the lockdown. And if you think about it, once you've basically barred interstate migration, once you've closed the borders between the states, it really should be the task of the individual states being closer to the ground, being more in touch with the daily spread of the pandemic, to be able to decide to when to open up, how much to open up, and all of that. Once you've sealed the borders, there's no question of the pandemic spreading between states. So you can see how, in that sense, the use of the Disaster Management Act effectively temporarily overrides the federal scheme and gives the center overriding powers in even determining how states should respond to the issue. Had the government actually invoked formal emergency powers under the Constitution to deal with it, I don't think there would have been much of an objection, because everyone recognizes that there's a public health crisis and it requires a temporary departure from the norm. The only issue is that temporary departure needs to be strictly contained within the rule of law and can't be allowed to become a permanent situation of exception.
The fight to contain the COVID-19 outbreak just got tougher in Karnataka with a new finding alarming health authorities. According to data from the state's COVID-19 war room, a significant chunk of fresh COVID-19 cases are not showing symptoms, although they remained infected and highly contagious. 256 cases out of the 390 reported as of Sunday evening remain asymptomatic. The war room data also notes that a majority of cases reported in Bengaluru and Mysuru are asymptomatic. 54 of the 83 cases in Mysuru and 42 out of the 98 positive cases in BBMP limits are showing no symptoms of the novel coronavirus infection. Pandemic experts have said that the reason behind a surge in asymptomatic cases is due to early detection, well before patients have developed symptoms. According to data analyzed by the Deccan Herald, nearly all of the identified cases of infection fall into three categories: family members, friends, or co-workers. There are almost no identified cases falling outside these categories. The Karnataka cabinet has decided that lockdown measures to contain the spread of COVID-19 will continue as is till May 3rd with no relaxation whatsoever. The cabinet decision supersedes Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa's announcement on April 18 that some economic activities will be permitted after April 20th, especially construction work and industries. This is a developing story. For the latest, please log on to the website.
And before we go, scientists from the Institute of Genomics and Integrative Biology in New Delhi have developed a paper strip test that can detect COVID-19 in 1 hour. The test is called Feluda and is named after a Bengali fictional private investigator created by Satyajit Ray. Just like in the book, Feluda is accompanied by his long-term companion, Jatayu, in the laboratory as well. A web tool required for the test has been named after the popular crime thriller writer who also accompanied Feluda in many of his adventures. Another test being developed at the lab at MIT is named Sherlock. For its part, the Feluda test costs close to 600 rupees and uses saliva rather than blood for testing samples. Unlike the antibody-based rapid test currently being used by the government for surveillance in hotspots and containment zones, the IGIB diagnostic kit relies on DNA-protein interaction for successful diagnosis. Developers are in talks with companies for establishing a supply chain to scale up the production and technology transfer. That's all from Suraksha and me today. For the latest updates, log on to DeccanHerald.com. Stay safe, stay indoors, and we'll see you tomorrow.